It's about time this happened, and we've been waiting for a while. The Uprising is upon us, and what will happen next? What's up guys, it's Punchy, and today I gotta discuss some huge changes to Deepwoken that make in-game interactions way more unique and diverse for everyone. I'm a huge advocate for advanced AI, you know, humanoid enemies teaming up with their friends and waiting to attack, mobs that target you when you're at low HP, and overall just better NPC fights that other Roblox games don't offer. Both Deepwoken monsters and human enemies alike have had giant system overhauls that almost redefine the game entirely compared to release. The smart mob AI systems allow for more complex actions across full servers, which happen simultaneously instead of doing an action and waiting until the next one can happen. Yeah, it's hard to understand, but that makes Deepwoken NPCs chaotic, complex, and most importantly challenging for a parry-based game. So, what happened in this update, and why am I so excited for the future of Deepwoken? Well, let me explain. Players in Deepwoken all have talents that straight up define and make builds what they are today. Who really cares about the agility stat itself when you have something like Ghost? You know, the talents are more important than the actual stats. Anyway, with that same idea in mind, human mobs like bosses, bandits, whatever, have received talents handpicked by the developers to make fights more unique and more of a challenge. Now, some of these enemies are pretty cool, like Authority Captains, which have ice talents ranging from Saint J that prevents healing all the way over to Frostraw's Crystal Path. I mean, we haven't seen this before, and it's always going to be randomized. Not all humanoid mobs of the same type will have the same talents, it's going to be varied. For example, yeah, a single Authority Commander isn't going to be that annoying, right? It's one guy using fire, nothing crazy. But what happens if you give some of these commanders Lava Serpent explosions while the rest still burn you? That means you can be infinite comboed if you aren't careful, and all it takes is a single hit. Still on this topic, some Authority enemies even have Phoenix Flames, so if you can't keep them down, they're just gonna revive, and that might be an issue. Moving on, players who like to gank around Etris and Vigils, you gotta be careful now about the new and improved guards. The Etrian guards can now apply Suffocate, and with all of this, they can even reduce your mobility. The talent Stifle Jump prevents all type of vertical motion while extending that anti-monster status. Vigil guards also have something similar and apply Bear Traps, so needless to say, these enemies will have more tools to stop players in their tracks, and if you're fighting players and NPCs at the same time, it can be scary. Most humanoid mobs realistically won't be doing too much damage, but how they affect your gameplay while players and monsters do the real damage, you know, that's why they're scary. I'm not gonna explain every single talent on each and every type of mob, but if you're interested, there's also a huge list in the Deepwoken patch notes that says them. Basically, I ain't reading all that. But what I will show you in depth is Duke Aricia, one of the harder fights if you don't expect some nonsense, and he has more than that than ever. The Duke is one of those bosses that parries basically everything at first, block breaks easily, spawns in minions that infinite combo, and of course, he can vent. But now he has talents which make the fight a whole lot more interesting. First off, he deals a lot of posture damage with his fist style, and those block breaks are straight up deadly. After popping your block, you can now be stunned on a wall since he now has Bulldozer, and its effects are extended with both the Concussion and Concussive Force talents. Upon this, the Gale Breath talent, Suffocation Impact, will win the player when they get stunned and apply Suffocate on top of the Bulldozer stun. After this, he's doing way more damage and knockback from block breaks due to the Pressure Break talents, and his secondary combos cannot be prevented because Collapse Lung, that talent, prevents all venting after being block broken, so you gotta be careful. Anyway, Duke Aricia is a menace that throws hands and stands on business, so I wouldn't mess around with him because you'll die in a second if you aren't, you know, being careful. With all that being said, I'm glad that Deepwoken NPCs are becoming more and more complex and worth a challenge. Like, alone, they probably won't be deleting players, but with players, monsters, and humanoid NPCs mixed together, it's gonna be crazy and a lot of fun. What do you guys think about this? Is Deepwoken more challenging and realistic? But share your thoughts down below, and as always, make sure to like and subscribe. Thanks again, it's Punchin' Time.